Good day, everyone. This is Rita Choi, founder of IHRP. IHRP is a human resources community focusing on leadership and coaching. We help organizations build high-performing teams. We also have a coaching platform called Coaching Engage Plus, connecting qualified coaches with their potential clients. Our vision is to make coaching affordable and accessible by everybody globally. That's why we put coaching as part of their employees' well-being. Today is the third session of the HR Leader Series for Singapore. And the topic for today is Beyond Paycheck. Retain your top talents by meeting their needs. And the speaker for today is Dr. Noraslinda Zuber, HR leader and deputy CEO of Yayasan MENDAKI, which is a self-help group in Singapore. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Linda. Linda, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Rita, for inviting me to your session. I'm really looking forward to having a chat with you and, of course, interacting with the audience that's online right now. Always happy to connect and get to know more people and exchange ideas and thoughts. Yeah.
Thank you, Linda. Today, we are going to do it in a question and answer manner. For those who are watching the video today, just say hi to us. And also feel free to put your comments and questions in the comment box. And all these questions will be answered by Linda. Okay, Linda, I have the first question for you. How well do you understand the evolving needs and expectations of your employees today?
Yeah, that's a wonderful starting question, Rita. I think all of us have been in organizations, many years, right? And even for me, I've been in different organizations in the course of my career. And it's always important for me personally, I believe, to know, what our employees are thinking, what our employees want in terms of where they are at in the organization. And for me personally, the tools that I used or the organization use are tools such as, pulse survey. This is really where you get very quick, frequent checks on what energizes or frustrates employees. Then, of course, there is the whole range of engagement surveys that I know organization and businesses actually make use of it. This can be done be it on an annual basis or biannual basis. And when we do engagement surveys, often it allows us to have a deeper insight and even looking at trends about what's happening within the organization. But tools aside, right, for me personally, throughout all these years of leadership and leading teams, what I find most insightful is the human-centered conversations. So by that, I'm referring to, let's say, your one-to-one conversations with your employees, where you can kind of like then figure out, it's not just about appraisal discussion, it's just not about how they're doing in terms of performance, but it's also about knowing, what inspires them, what are they looking for when they are part of your company, your organization, what will make them thrive, in the workplace. And so I do a lot of one-to-one conversations. It does take a lot of my time, because you have to be really focused and give all your attention to the employee that you're speaking to. But I find that this is such an important conversation to have. And then beyond the one-to-one conversation, I also do team conversations. This is where I give the team a chance, the system, the voices in the system, the voices of the teams, holistically, what are they happy about, what are they concerned about, and so on. So I love that kind of conversations because to me it's important. That is a HR practitioner. We have a lot of HR data, right? So HR data, for example, turnover rate, absence patterns, and all this will give you early warning signs about, is there something not quite right? Or is there something that you need to look at? Then, of course, as a HR practitioner, I also look at employee segmentation. So I need to know the profile of the employees in my organization, because then I would know what are the needs at different life stages. So, for example, you have an early joiners, right? So in the young stage of their career, what is it that they need? Then you have your mid-careers, and you even have those that maybe slightly, they are looking at caregiving role or even parenting role, etc. So to me, these are all the different data points that you can use to figure out, what are your employees' needs. Yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
Wow, I really love that, because you mentioned that besides knowing about their performance, we also to know about their life, right? Make them
Yes.
strive, having one-on-one conversations and even team conversations. And HR data can also let us know about the early warning signs. And I particularly love your employee segmentation, right? Knowing about the different stages of the career, so that we know them much, much better in order for us to make them strive further. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And Linda, I understand that you have been using a framework called MEET. Can you share with us what this model is about?
Yeah, I smiled because this is a framework that I personally came up with. So it's just something very simple that I've used over the years of my career, because I wanted to have something simple to anchor how I carry out my role, be it as a leader to teams or even as a HR leader. And I find that so this MEET, I kind of like, it's an interplay of, at the back of my mind, I know that I need to meet the needs of my employees, right? So to achieve that is the MEET framework. So the MEET framework is to allow the organization to meet the needs of the employees. You get where I'm coming from? Yeah. So it's just something very simple that I came up with. Perhaps I can just dive a bit deeper into the framework, and it's simple enough, but I believe it's powerful because it allows you to have a very good view of what's needed for yourself as a leader with your teams, or even as a HR practitioner. You want to kind of like advise your senior management on how, when you want to retain talent within the organization. So the first word is M, right? So M is really just about motivate. So what it means is that you create conditions that will inspire your employees to stay committed and to stay energized. So what are the elements in motivate? So first, to me, is very much about the purpose and the meaning. You need to be able to connect the roles in your organization to in the teams to the organizational mission. So that means your employees needs to know why they are doing what they are doing and how it has an impact on the organization mission. So it's about purpose and meaning. Second element, which is also about which is about recognition. So how do you recognize and show appreciation for the effort that your employees do? And for this, right, as a leader, just giving appreciation for small wins, that will say a lot. You do not need to wait for major achievements to give your employees a recognition, your team members recognition. Just something, a small win, a pat on the back, will really motivate, and they will feel that, hey, I'm valued, that my work is recognized. So I do this quite a fair bit. And then, of course, in terms of an organization's setup, we can't run away from growth incentives, right? People are motivated by the dollars and cents. So we do need to make sure that at organization level, we have very clear performance pathways, we have very clear reward mechanism. This is where HR rules is very critical, because your performance structure, reward structure has to be very solid. So that your employees know that they will be rewarded for the work that they put in. Yeah, then of course, the last element, which to me is important, is about well-being support. Today we are talking a lot about, employees maybe facing burnout, maybe facing a lot of the, issues of mental well-being, etc. So we need to make sure that our employees know that the organization has a mental health assess, for example, that they can go to anyone, go to a counselor that is provided by the organization or in partnership, so that they know that they are supported, and this will then motivate them to be still within the organization and like, hey, I'm taken care of. So M is motivate. So I just talk about the four so-called elements, which to me are the elements that's important.
Laura, okay. So M stands for motivate, right? And then
Correct. Yes.
V is more about appreciation, right? Does it come from the word starting with E?
Okay. E is engage.
Okay. The
Yeah.
first E is engage, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically motivate, which is M. The first E is engage. So engage means, how you build a workplace where your employees feel emotionally connected and psychologically safe. And this to me is an important pillar because this is where manager quality matters. So if you have a manager that is able to have very good communication, way of communicating, articulating, and even coaching, for example, as part of the skill set of the leader, then you will be able to engage your employees and create that workplace that they feel connected. They also feel psychologically safe.
Very nice.
Okay.
How about the second E?
The second E is expand. So by expand, I'm really talking about how we can provide opportunities for employees for them to develop and prepare for the future. So this would mean that making sure that you support them in terms of skills upgrading. Today AI and digital fluency is so critical because that's the world today, and our employees have to be ready for the future. So we need to make sure that our employees are expanded. They have the expanded repertoire of skill sets. So that is the critical element of expand, providing them opportunities to be further developed and be prepared for the future.
And the last one, T, right?
Okay.
T is more about well-being support. But what is the word for T?
Okay, so T is actually time. So for me, this is where we talk about respecting and optimizing our employees' time so that they can sustain high performance. This is where, flexible work arrangement comes in. This is where you support your employees in terms of their workload management. So, for example, as a leader, you need to set clear priorities. You need to set clear deadlines and expectations so that they know that, okay, for them to do this work, it requires this amount of time, and then they can then balance the time at work and the time for personal matter. Yeah, so for me, right, the MEET framework, MEET, allows me as a leader to make sure that my employees are taken care of from these different dimensions. And it's just something that I came out with because like what I say, I needed an anchor to help myself be able to lead effectively and be there for my team members and my employees.
Very nice. MEET framework, right? In order for employers to meet the needs of our employees.
Correct.
Okay, so when you are sharing with me this framework, right? I immediately connect with our survey, the top challenges mentioned in the identifying the survey, just like the second one, the engage, right? The first E, engage. You mentioned that leaders matters. One of the challenges is to improve the leadership skills of our leaders. So I think it's very true that leaders makes the difference in the team, also makes the business difference. So that's why leadership skills are of utmost important, whether they're able to care for the employees, provide the support for them, create an environmentally or psychologically safe environment for them so that they are willing to speak and even extend their appreciation to them when even for small wins. I think this is very true. So it immediately connect me to one of the challenges mentioned. There is about the leadership skills, and you also mentioned about the second year is expand, right? Giving opportunity for employees. I think nowadays, especially Gen Z, right? One of the challenges actually is related to Gen Z. How are we going to cope with their needs? So, and one of the important areas for Gen Z is to provide them of opportunities. They love to be developed, and also they love the opportunities for them to see more things and also to further grow with the organization. I think this is very true. And of course, you also mentioned about well-being support. So well-being support is also one of the challenges mentioned in their survey. So spot on. Thank you so much. And then among these four display, which one will make the biggest influence in an organization?
I mean, for me, right, all the four components needs to be present, but I personally believe the leadership component needs to be that strong anchor. So, like what you said, right? Leaders are the ones that is in charge of the teams, and you have a lead. If you have a leader who is just so task focused that he or she ignores the other dimension of engaging, expanding, motivating, and giving time, helping the employees manage their time at work and at home, then that leader would not be able to effectively engage, I mean, retain the talent. So for me, the four pillars are important, but underlying it is the leadership component. And I totally agree with you. Thanks so much for sharing with me that the survey that you did highlighted the role of leaders. And I myself had gone through many leaders. Yeah, you have seen the good and you've also seen the bad. My observation is that employees really thrive in organization when the leaders listened with full intention of really understanding the employee's need, balancing the organizational needs. And when you listened and when you figure out there's actually a certain gap, and you might need to make a hard decision, because if, let's say, the request is at the detriment of the organizational needs, but at least when you approach it, because you have listened to your employees, the employees recognize that you're making effort to listen, and then they would be prepared to meet halfway. Because often I realize that leaders tend to be very top down, and listening takes effort. It's about active listening, it's about intentional listening, it's about listening without judgment. Because at the end of the day, the employees in front of you is a human being. They're not machines. They have their own thoughts, they have their own opinions. And you, as a leader, you're trying to bring the organization needs, the employees needs into a balance. So to me, leadership plays such a critical role in retaining talent within the organization.
Thank you, Laura, especially about active listening, right? So, Laura, you also mentioned that you have come across with different type of leaders. Right? Some are good leaders, some are bad leaders. Are you going to
Yes.
have any stories to share with us about your leadership journey, or any leaders that has inspired you?
I mean, I do have leaders. I mean, I've been a public sector officers for most of my life, right? And I mean, the very first leader that I came across is definitely, two senior leaders in my very first public service posting. And at that point of time, I was just in my early 20s, right? So fresh from school, fresh from uni, you go in, not really knowing, what to expect in terms of work. And you see these two senior leaders who are, first of all, humble. They are at the highest echelon within the public service, and yet they actually know the names of all the employees, even right down to the clerical officers. So that, to me, is truly an indicator that the leaders do make an effort to know, the employees. I mean, the fact that they know the names is fantastic. It's like right down to the junior officers. And I saw that personally because we were at the lift lobby, and I was with a junior employee, and one of the senior leader came out of the lift and uttered the name of that junior employee, and I was like, totally wow, the fact that he knows the name of the junior employee. And I remember asking that junior employee, you actually have worked with so and so? And she said, no, she's just a junior officer. She doesn't work with him directly, but he has seen her in office, and he knew her name. So that to me was like, or was an eye opener as a fresh young employee, fresh from school. I see a senior leader in the highest rank position within the public service knowing who that junior employee is. And that was something that I always carry, that at the end of the day, no matter how high I go up in the ranks in my own career, I actually will know, and I should know who the junior employees are, and be thankful and appreciative of all the efforts that are put into the organization.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I understand that our name is the most beautiful words in our life, right?
Yes,
Because we just know
yeah,
that we treasure our name a lot. I could remember in one of the interviews, I think that was 2 years ago, and
mm,
in the interview, I actually was the COO of an investment company in Singapore, quite a big one.
mm-hmm,
And the topic at that time was about leadership. And she told me that she could still remember the leader that she came across when she first worked in the organization. And
mm,
apparently the leader actually was very busy, but he was able to spend like 15 minutes of his time every month to sit together with individual employees, with the senior one and junior one, to understand their life, any support that he could give to them. And after 20 something years, she could still remember this leader. So you can see that, right? The love and the care given the leader will never be forgotten by the employees concerned. And that's the power of leadership.
yes, truly,
That's
truly.
amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you to share with us, for sharing with us such a lovely story. I really love that. Being humble and also care about your employees, especially remember their
Their names.
names.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. So, what current workplace factors most influence long term employee commitment and loyalty?
Um, well, I think for me, it's what I said earlier, right? Workplaces today are just very busy. Yeah. And business environment is just very complex now. And in the hurry to get things done, or in the hurry to actually making sure that we remain relevant, the organization or the business remain relevant, we may forget the fact that at the center of the organization is the people asset, is your employees. Yeah. So we do need to then take care of the employees, and that's where it goes back to what we have been talking about, which is about talent retention, right? I mean, as a HR practitioner and as a leader, I can say it's actually quite easy to recruit people, because you will have a lot of applications, you will get very good candidates, and then you will get the best, right, among the cohort of people that you're seeing. But once you recruit, the challenge is, can you keep them, especially the good ones? And being able to keep your talent is your competitive advantage. So it goes back again to your people asset. So that's why, if I bring it back to the M.E.E.T framework, I firmly believe that every leader needs to be able to motivate, engage, expand, and ensure time is given to every single employee that is within the business or the organization.
Hmm. That is very, very nice. It seems that we have spent a lot of time sharing with everybody here about the strategies or the M.E.E.T framework, right, on how to retain talents. We all know that hiring the right people and retaining them is one of the top priorities of human resources professionals. And also, this is something an organization would love to see. Then how about as an employees? What role do they play on all sort of these retention strategies or framework that
Mm,
we are talking about? What do you think?
yeah, I love the fact that you asked me that question, because I'm also a coach. And within the public service, I do coaching for the public service officers. And I always tell my coaches, my coachees, this point, that at the end of the day, you yourself as an employee has a role to play in making sure
Mhm.
that you remain, effective, you remain energized, you remain able, to do the work that you're tasked to do. And, bottom line, you thrive in the role that you're in at that point of time. So to me, and the retention is also the role of the employee. And by that, you have to make sure, as an employee, they have to make sure that they continue to build their skills and their portfolio, basically stay adaptable through continuous learning. They have to also drive their own development, because at the end of the day, they themselves know what their own strengths, right? So you need to seek opportunities that's aligned with your strengths, and you can find it within the organization. So, like what you said just now, the younger generation of employees or workers today looks at different things, right? So actually, today, if you look at in terms of career, it's no longer just a career upwards trajectory. It's like a career lattice where you can go sideways, you can go upwards, you can go, some of them even take a step back, because that's where they learn new things, and then after that they come back again, right? So it is not just about upwards movement, upwards growth. It's also about lateral growth. And so for me, employees has a role to play, to take charge, basically take charge of their own career. And then when they are in an organization that provide all the environment for them to thrive, an environment for them to be motivated, be engaged, be expanded, to expand, etc., then it becomes a win-win solution. So I believe that it takes two hands, to clap lah.
Very true, right? So as the employees, they also have to look into not just upward movement, but also natural movement, right?
Mm.
Very nice, very nice. So Nora, earlier you mentioned about the first year is motivate, right? And
Yes,
then
M. Mm.
yeah, so motivate so that they can stay committed and then stay energized. And you further mentioned about their why and also their impact. Can you elaborate a little bit more about the purpose, also meanings when they work in an organization?
Yeah. So let me just use my current organization. Yeah. So like what you said, is a self-help group. So basically, it's within the social sector, and the employees that are in the organization is very much purpose driven. They're driven by the fact that they're doing something for the community, that will benefit the people within the community. So that purpose needs to be constantly iterated and reminded to the employees. Because if you looked at it, right, as you go into doing your work, you tend to just be very busy in terms of execution, that you might forget there's a larger purpose as to why you're doing the work. Or by you doing this particular piece of work, it leads to the other pieces of work that has the ultimate outcome of serving the community. So when I talk about purpose and meaning, to me as a leader, it is important to be able to help the employees identify that even the smallest thing that they do is connected to the larger organizational vision and mission. That's what I
Mm,
meant by purpose and meaning. And honestly, is we are, as human beings, right? We will get motivated if we know, hey, I'm doing this for a certain purpose. It's not just meaningless task.
it's always connected to the
Correct.
organization's purpose,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
nice. So Laura, we are towards the end of the session. Do you have any
Oh,
closing
so
remarks
fast.
for us? Yeah, time
Yeah,
really flies.
yeah, that really flies. I'm like, okay. Closing remarks. Okay. I think I just want to tell the audience here, that I don't deny that it's not easy to retain, uh, your team members. Speaking as a leader myself, it's a constant, work, to make sure that your employees, your team members are happy, thriving, um, and and they are able to help you achieve, the needs that you need. I mean, the things that you need to deliver. But I believe that, if we just remember, as leaders, we need to motivate, we need to engage, we need to expand, And of course, there's the time factor, right? So if you remember these 4 pillars, and in our own ways, we should be able to, retain and make our employees feel that they have a part to play in the organization and that they can thrive.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Laura, here comes a question. Will you be able to see the question here?
Yes, I'm reading it now. Thank you. Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't quite know how to pronounce the name.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have a question? Okay. If I understand this correctly, it is about the talent, asking, or the needs of the talent might be a bit too extensive than what the organization can provide. I hope that's the correct understanding. I think just now I mentioned about the fact that we have organizational needs as a leader, right? We know there are organizational needs that needs to be met, and like it or not, there are things that we need to do to make sure that the organization can remain relevant, to make sure that our business can remain profitable, right? And if you do have an employee that actually wants something that's beyond what you can provide, what I've always done is just to have a very open conversation to say that, okay, this is your needs, you've shared these needs with me. Maybe one of them is an unmet need. As an organization today, right now, I cannot meet your need because there are certain limitations. But I'm prepared to meet you halfway, what is possible. So for me, it's like what I've always done is like just making sure that we have that open conversation. At the same time, providing clarity that the organization does have its certain limitations. And if I can meet it, I will. But if I cannot meet it, I will tell you. And at the end of the day, it's your choice. Like what I say, the employee has a role to play. It's your choice whether you want to remain in the organization or not. Yeah. So that's what I would typically do. But that requires the leader to really be able to have a very like open conversation, have clear understanding of what's doable and what's not doable. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hope that your question was answered, Pandora. Thank you so much. And I think it comes down to communication, right? And as a leader, we need to be active listener and then respond to their needs. So,
Yeah, correct.
Laura, Laura, thank you so much for your needs framework. So we could always remember that: motivate, engage, expand, and also time.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the end of our session today. Thank you so much. And then we'll continue with our Singapore series. And the next one is next Wednesday between 12 to 12:30. And next week, the speaker is going to talk about the workplace development journey. That will be another great session. Thank you so much and see you next Wednesday. And thank you, Laura, again, for your excellent insights. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.